What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Sforgo. Today, I want to provide a little bit of perspective as far as whether or not you really should pull for Karenina, because I know some of you are on the fence about her, because what everybody is telling you is that she needs to be SS3, which means that she needs 2 actual copies from the banner in order to be relevant, in order to be useful. And I want to give you guys some feedback on that, because I've actually tested her at S rank and double S rank with and without her weapon, so I can provide you guys a little insight as far as whether or not you really want to pull for her. But before we get into that, I do want to talk about Karenina herself. Now, when it comes to playing with Karenina, she's really not that all difficult of a character to play. This is the memories that you would actually use on her right here. You want her core passive on the bottom, and you want attack on top would be the best for this girl if you're using her as a damage dealer. If you're using her as a QTE slave, then you're going to want to have her class skill down here instead of her core passive. So for example, you would have this here, go to resonance, swap resonance, and you would want class skill. If you're just using her as a QT slave, this is what you're going to want on the bottom. But if you're going to use her as a damage dealer, then you want her core passes, right? And pretty much, guys, she really needs to be SS3 to be a damage dealer for the most part. She can work at double S as a damage dealer, but it's really highly recommended to get her to double S3 in order to really put forth out some good damage for you. And we'll talk about why here in a little bit. And also, guys, if she's a damage dealer, you're going to want the Condolinas on her, because these actually increase your basic attack. And whenever she does a spin to win, that is the attack damage that you're actually increasing. So this is pretty damn OP for her if you're using her as a damage dealer. If you're using her as a QTE slave, then you're going to want to run 2 Einstein on her, 4 of these, or 2 Einstein and 4 Da Vinci. It really depends on the characters that you're actually going to be playing with. Something else that I didn't have in the comparison that you guys are going to watch is this here, this resonance, where I actually decreased the dark resistance by another 8%. This was not in effect whenever I was doing my runs with the weapon that I'm going to show you guys in a little bit. So do keep that in mind, right? The run that I'm going to show you guys is with her 6-star weapon, but it isn't without any resonance at all. I will have her pet, but the pet's only, you know, it's not leveled up very much, guys. Level up level 30, but these things are only at level 2, which really isn't increasing our damage very much, just giving us an extra dark damage by 4%. But again, as a QT slave, that doesn't really make a whole lot of difference. So let's talk a little bit about Karenina. So Karenina is a dark tank. She's 100% dark damage dealing character, which means that all of her orbs are always going to deal dark damage. And these orbs really don't matter, in all honesty, guys, because of the way she plays, right? Because of her core passive. If you're using her as a QTE slave, then obviously you're just going to be dropping her in using her QTEs or quick time events, and you're not going to be really playing her all that much. If you're using her as a damage dealer, well, you're still going to be just absorbing a bunch of orbs, because we got an entire book here, guys. But what this pretty much says is that whenever you have 2 3 pings on the screen, you'll hit 1 3 ping, and then you'll hold your basic attack down, and then she's going to absorb all of those orbs, and then you're going to start tapping your basic attacks. She's going to jump up in the air, she's going to hit her anti-gravity state, she's going to jump in the air, start doing the spin to win. And whenever she starts spinning, guys, as soon as she lands, you want to hit her dodge, because she's actually going to gain 20 energy from doing that, and that's going to allow you to go into your signature a whole lot faster. So literally the rotation with her is you bring her in, you enter into a 3 ping. Now whenever she's at S rank and double S rank, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to enter the matrix first. You enter the matrix, hit a 1 ping that counts as a 3 ping. You should have another 3 ping lying on the screen, and then hold her basic attack down, do her spin to win, and as soon as she lands, hit her dodge, start doing the spin to win again, start tapping her basic attacks, and then she's going to have her signature, and you do her signature as a damage dealer, right? That's pretty much all there is to her when it comes to playing with this girl. However you find when her level up, it's going to be even easier to do all these things, right? So at S rank, guys, she does, you know, give herself a shield, which is nice. But whenever she's at double S, this is when you actually get an extra dark resistance by 15% for 3 seconds. If you're using her as a damage dealer, this will add damage to her dark resistances. She also has dark resistance down on her yellow orbs. But if you're using it as a QT slave, this will not take effect. And speaking of the QTE, this is really where it's at for this girl. She gives you dark resistance down by 15%, and her weapon actually gives you another 10% right here. Chain fusion is your dark resistance down. So she's given 25% dark resistance down. And we take a look at Kamui here. Let's see if I find old Kamui really quick here. Kamui here is a little bit different story, because he actually, whenever he does his QT, he's only got dark resistance down by 10%, guys. But whenever he enters into dark form, which is his signature move, he'll actually gain another 15% resistance down, which is 25% resistance down, the same as Karenina, right? So you would think, you know, as a QTE slave, they're pretty much going to be about the same. It's really the actual damage difference is where it's at for these characters, because Kamui, like on my account, is going to do a whole lot more damage because he's triple S, right? Compared to a double S Karenina. However, if you take Karenina to double S3, then it's going to be a different story for her, because one, it's going to eliminate a lot of RNG for you whenever you're playing with the girl, as we'll talk about here in a second. So if we go in here, guys, and we take a look at her, right, and we take a look at the SS3, this is really where it's at for the girl, because she gains an extra 3 ping opportunity triggered by pressing and holding basic attack to charge up to 3 times. That really helps her damage. Upon the third 3 ping, the base damage of the corresponding leap, attack, and radiant whirlwind will increase by 400% and 75% respectively. So this is a huge buff for this girl, and why it's highly recommended to SS3 her, right? Which is why most people that are going to have Karenina at S rank or double S rank are more than likely just going to use her as a QT slave. But I can tell you guys from the testing that I've done so far with double S, with her weapon, guys, non-resonated, she seemed to perform pretty much almost as good as my triple S Kamui. Yeah, that's right. Now, that always depends on your gameplay, my friends. It really does. Whenever I was playing with Karenina and Luna and Selena in my Warzone runs, I really wasn't using Karenina all that much. I just drop her in, do a couple spin to wins, and that'd be about it. And then I'd switch back to Selena and Luna because they were my main damage dealers, right? I'm relying on those two characters instead of Karenina in the runs that I actually did. So for some players, you might actually see a bigger difference between Kamui and Karenina. Maybe Kamui would do a whole lot more damage, but whenever you take her to SS3, guys, that's where the real difference is at, and that's really where her power lies. And also at SS3, guys, she also gives herself extra dark resistance down for 10 seconds. That is very potent, right? And she deals that extra 75% dark damage. I mean, this is some OP stuff that she has, and she will also deal 10% more dark damage. She really becomes pretty damn OP, especially at triple S. And then when we go beyond triple S, then it gets really crazy for this girl, because then whenever a teammate casts a signature move, it provides a 3 ping for Karenina, which is OP as hell, guys. The more 3 pings that she absorbs, the longer you can do the radiant wind, right? That is insane for her damage. And Karenina gains extra 3 ping opportunity triggered by pressing and holding base attack to charge up to 4 times. Literally, guys, whenever you bring this girl in, this is even at triple S, you can literally hold her basic attack down and go straight into her core passive and start doing the spin to win. It's really OP, and that 400% that you saw a while ago actually goes up to 600%, which is OP as hell, guys. And then whenever you go to level 2, Radiant Whirlwind gains 30% extra damage, and then obviously a triple S plus, level 3, Star Shadow Horizon gains 40% extra damage, and Karen Sky will gain 3 single orbs of a random color every time you switch to her. So she gets really nutty, especially when you level the character up. But we're just going to be showing some S and double S gameplay today, at least as far as in Pain Cage. But before I show you this run, something that I want to note, guys, is that whenever you play with Kamui, you have to enter that dark form, as we talked about earlier, so you get that extra dark resistance down. And what that means is, especially with my Kamui at triple S, is that, you know, we're going to bring him in after we're going to start with Selena and bring him in, and he's going to have to do 2 3 pings before he can enter his dark form, which means that we're going to be doing damage with those 3 pings. And when this guy's triple S, he does a lot of damage with his 3 pings, and that's going to be one of the big differences that you're going to notice, even though both Karenina and Kamui both have dark resistance down the same amount, 25%, as long as you have her weapon. But that is one big difference that you're going to notice about the runs that I'm going to show you. So I'm just going to be going against Voodoo here, guys, and I'm going to show you exactly, you know, what we're doing. So we start with Selena, we break in Kamui, we do a couple 3 pings, we enter dark form, and as you guys can see, Kamui's already done almost a bar of damage, guys. He's already emptied out almost a bar of damage. And this is one big difference between using Kamui and Karenina, right? Even when he's double S, you're going to be doing the same thing, right? Now, I tried to play these the exact same way, right? Bringing my QT right when I in Annihilation State on Luna. We hit her signature. And boom, look at that, guys. So we pretty much got down to the bottom of the 8th bar in one rotation with this team composition. There's a Da Vinci set on Selena with 2 Guinevere. I'll show you guys that here in a little bit, right? And there's a 4-piece Bathlon with 2 Einstein on my Kamui, which I'll show you guys here in a little bit. Okay. Now, when it came to Karenina, I tried all kinds of different stuff, guys. So here we're doing her at S rank with no weapon, right? And we do have the Bathlon on her, okay? And let's see how much damage we do here. And there we go. Now, this is at S rank with no weapon, right? We're down to the 13th bar, right? So we did way more damage having Kamui. Even though we started with Kamui and we did about a bar damage in the very beginning of the run with doing 2-3 pings with him, we still didn't even come close to what he was actually putting out with pretty much the same card set on Karenina as Kamui. Remember, I'm using 4 Bathlon and 2 Einstein on Karenina for this run, right? Because we're using a Da Vinci on Selena. So let's see if we ramp up the stakes and add a little dark resistance down with the weapon at S rank, okay? She's only S rank here, right? We're doing the same thing, right? And one benefit to using Karenina is the fact that you don't have to start off and use your dark form, right? And so we did a little bit more damage, guys, a little bit more, but it really didn't make a whole lot of difference having just a 6-star weapon. Now, if that 6-star weapon would have been resonated, if that thing would have been resonated, you would have seen more of a difference here. Okay, let's be fully transparent. We would have seen more of a difference, okay? By the way, we're not even taking account of Kamui has this 6-star weapon in this comparison, right? There's only so many runs I can show you guys. Okay, but I mean, we got down a little bit below the 12th bar. So now it's SS with the weapon, right? Let's see how much damage we do here. And so, I mean, right there, guys, we got down to, you know, about the 11th bar. That was a much, much better run. About 3 bars more than what we did with Kamui. And remember, with Kamui, we did about a bar of damage because of his 2-3 pings, right? So there isn't a huge difference. And if this Karenina, guys, at double S as a QT slave with her weapon, if I would have her resonance for her tank passive, right? If I'm just using her for a QT slave and I had her 6-star weapon fully resonated, this damage would have been the equivalent of Kamui. It would have been. So what a lot of people were saying if initially for Karenina is that, you know, if you're going to use her as a QT slave, then, you know, she'd probably be a pretty good pull, especially if you have her weapon. But if you don't have her weapon, she just isn't going to compare to someone like Kamui. However, a lot of people don't have this tree. That is something else that was involved in that run that you saw where we were actually getting an extra 8% attack. And as far as the memories that I was using on Karenina and Kamui, I was actually using this setup right here or Bathlon with 2 Einstein. So I'll go ahead and throw this on here for you guys, right? We got an Einstein here. Well, let me click on this one here. There we go. And we'll click on this one here. Then we put this one. Then we equip this one on her. And this is what I was running on Karenina and Kamui in the runs that you guys watched, right? And none of these things are resonating for Kamui or Karenina, so that way I could at least try to keep it somewhat fair, right? And I was running a 4-piece Da Vinci on Selena. I was using this setup right here on my Selena. Now there's a whole slew of team combinations that you can use, guys. I have seen some pretty insane runs with a fully maxed out Selena, with a double S Karenina doing very, very well in Phantom Pain Cage. But I really do think after all this testing that I do think Karenina is definitely worth pulling for, especially if you don't have Kamui. I mean, if you don't have Kamui, I think this girl's absolutely worth pulling for, because even a free-to-play player could eventually get her weapon. They could definitely get her to double S, and I think she's going to be a worthy investment for them. She's not going to be as OP as what she's going to be at SS3, and definitely anything above that. But she still is very, very strong, guys. She still can do very, very well. You're going to have the same amount of dark resistance shred as you would with a Kamui. So if you don't have Kamui, I do think that you probably should pull for this girl. But if you do have Kamui and you're not planning on taking this girl to SS3, then you could probably skip on her and save your black cards for another character. But I'm loving Karenina, guys. I think she's absolutely spectacular, and I do plan on doing more videos with her. So guys, let me know what you think about Karenina. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. G2+7 time. Link in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See everybody. Take care.